Welcome to BossUp Babes, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Carissa Adkins. Carissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle, here to help mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and inspiring massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite boss up babe, Carissa Adkins, in the house. Along with me today, I've got the America's Joy magnet, Shari, and I'm so excited to be able to bring her on and do an exclusive interview with her. I am a master coach, certified in life, health, and fitness, and I own a coaching company. It's a global health coaching company called 365 Daily Hustle, and me and my team, we help women in their 40s lose weight, get fit, and become the confident powerhouses that I know is inside them all. So with that, we are talking all things joy, happiness, abundance, but we'll probably also discuss a little bit about how, we're not always in this state of joy and how we do have to create habits and rituals that allow us to stay in this always abundant mindset. So known as America's Joy Magnet, Shari is a TEDx and international keynote speaker, TV personality, and best-selling author. Shari is on a mission to help rejuvenate the spark within each of us so that we can live a joy-filled life. So with that, Shari, welcome to the show. Welcome to Boss Up Babes.
Woo! Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be with you, a powerhouse, your powerhouse listeners.
Yes.
I'm joyful.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And she is bringing the energy like I knew she would. Finally, a match for my energy levels. I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, I could just sit back and just watch you and feed off your energy.
I love that. Well, Shari, I always like to start off with every show with a question, right? A question that you don't know what's coming. And today's question for you is this. What is the most courageous thing that you've ever had to do in your life? Can you think of a moment that really took a lot of courage from you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was when I was super young. It was when I was 7 years old, and I had to get on a witness stand to prosecute the man who had sexually abused me.
Wow. That is a courageous moment. That is
I don't think I've done a lot of crazy in my life, like jumping out of an airplane, and even runner up would be learning to love myself, learning to drop all the things that we hold on to. But because I was 7 and because of those circumstances, that I would say was the most challenging and the most liberating and courageous.
Yeah, totally. And you guys, y'all know, like, that's my definition of bossing up. It's just when we can take empowered action, when we can step into that fear and take that step of like courageousness, like that is a boss up moment. And you can have them at early as 7, even earlier, all the way. And I'm telling you, you never stop bossing up once you kind of get the feel for like, life is going to be okay. I'm not going to die today. I will totally boss up and just take it, right? And I will take it and I will do it and I will thrive. What made me think of that question is I fly out to Houston next week, and I'm going to be in a film with Dr. John DeMartini, and he's really well known in the coaching field. And he's like this amazing life coach that helps really powerful transformations and, teaching people how to let go of limiting beliefs and all kinds of stuck stateness. And I remember about 7 months ago, my mentor, she's like, Carissa, here's an opportunity for you. And I was like, I don't think I have a big enough story for that. Like, I'm not struggling that bad, like after I read about it. And then I really put some thought into it. And I was like, no, I actually do. Like, I'm just like everyone else. I'm struggling and I'm trying to overcome certain challenges in my life. And so, yeah, next week I fly out to be in this movie document, like this film. And you know, like people think that they get the real me every day, right, on the podcast and my coaching, but there's nothing like really putting some of those hurtful, painful moments out there, taking that courageous action. And I'll just keep remembering the vision of I'm here to help others through my story. So that's I'm like scared, I'm nervous. I'm like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna boss up. It's definitely a courageous moment for me. But thank you for sharing yours with us. I know that probably wasn't expected, and I appreciate your honesty on that for sure.
Absolutely. I think anytime any of us, including you with where you're going, can share our truth, that is how we help each other. That is how we heal as a world. That is how we heal ourselves, is by sharing truths. So
yeah,
good for you in doing it.
I love it. I love it. So with that, I am curious, right? Because I'm sure there have been plenty of times in your life where you've had to boss up and overcome and kind of step into courageous action, overcome a difficult situation. So tell me a little bit about your story and how you became America's Joy Magnet.
Well, it definitely wasn't an easy journey. And when you talk about bossing up, I feel like I do that every single day when I get out of bed, because every single day when we wake up, my mind wants to find the worries in the day. What are the things that, no matter how, and I hate the word enlightened or woke, no matter how much we learn about ourselves and how much healing we do, we're still human beings. And every single day to be able to get up and face the day. And I know that I carry anxiety and fears from childhood still, no matter how much. So to be able to face those every day, I think is what it sounds like bossing up does.
Yeah.
And so for me, that really has been the journey from abuse, also coming from a very traumatic childhood where my parents had a really bitter divorce. And when you're put in the middle at that young age and having to choose between parents and physically being pulled from one side to the other, that leaves a mark. And so I just spent a lot of my life really trying to make sure everybody was okay, trying to be the peacemaker, trying to be the happy one, trying to make sure that everybody feels okay. And what I lost in the interim of showing up for everybody else was me. And so my journey really has been about reconnecting back to that 7-year-old that disconnected from herself that day on the witness stand.
Yeah.
And that, in that finding, in that discovery, uncovering of who I am, that is where joy was born. It's not because every single thing in my life is going well. It's not because I wake up and I'm like, oh, welcome to today. Like, you know, and it's just naturally that way. Joy arrives, I feel, for all of us when we are fully expressed, when we feel our feelings, when we share them, when we are authentically who we are, because that is when you and I feel most comfortable in our skin and most like ourselves. And that's where the joy came from.
I love that. So it obviously, right, total joy and abundance stemmed from a painful moment that you've had to go back and learn to heal and forgive and let in and let go. I literally just had a transformational coaching call with a client like 2 hours ago about how we went back to her childhood and she found a 5-year-old little self, you know, that was hurt and that was scared and was trembling. And, you know, through that, she just in 60 minutes, this is the power of a coaching call, you guys. It's not just because I'm a coach, right? I have a coach, so I know the power of coaching. I know Shari's probably had plenty of coaches, but she literally had such a mind-blown transformation within that call of like, wow, this is why I show up for everyone else. And this is why I don't want to put myself, you know, first. This is why I don't want to take care of myself. It's a form of protection. And, you know, like, and it was just so beautiful as a coach to see that. Like, I'm crying. And then after, of course, I get done with her, you know, I have to do a spiritual practice because I've got to clear that energy because I too have gone through. And so that always brings up those things for me. So you bring up a lot of things, you know, like you mentioned that you've had to do some of that inner work and you know, like how could you give some tips on how women can start to do that besides hiring a coach? Because I get not everyone can just go out and hire a coach. And that too is a limiting belief, you guys, but like what would be like a quick strategy for someone who is showing up for everyone else, but doesn't show up for themselves and doesn't know how to show up for themselves?
So I think with anything, first, it's the acknowledgement of it. just acknowledging where you're at. Because so often we're afraid, we feel it makes it weaker if we say that we have challenges, or we say like, you know what, I'm a people pleaser. You know what, I've shown up this way in my life. Like nobody wants to admit that, because especially as powerful women, we want to feel like we have it all together and we can rock it at all times, and we can. But vulnerability and authenticity is number one. So it's getting real, radically honest with yourself. And for me, I'll just share, that was hard because having gone through prosecuting a man and hearing my abuser, and hearing how strong I was and how brave I was from a young age, that is how I showed up in the world. But inside, I didn't always feel that way. And so I had to look at that girl, the little girl, and say, you know what, maybe we're not brave today. And that's okay. So I would just say the first strategy is really just about acknowledgement of where you are on your path. Number two, and I think is foundational for any kind of healing, is compassion, self-compassion, the lack of judgment, extending kindness to yourself, the way that you do with someone you love. Why can we show up with everyone else and be like, they're calling themselves names and we're like, no, you're not that way. You tried the best you can. Like, we need to be that inner coach for ourselves.
Yeah. You have to create that cheerleader voice, because not everyone's going to be there for you when you're, feeling down. As an entrepreneur, there are lots of days that I sit in my room, right? And I feel lonely. My teams are all over everywhere. Clients are all over. And it's a lonely road, and it's easy to start to feel like less than, or like I'm not doing enough, or I'm, not worthy, like all those things. But to recognize that those feelings don't serve me, like it's huge, right? So you're 100% right. I would totally agree. Like, and that's the advice I gave her, is like, it's okay to feel right now. Like I was like, and I gave her permission, and and then it came, right? She's like, I'm sorry. I don't normally cry. I'm like, no, you don't let yourself, like you've built up a wall so large that you have like told yourself that it's weak to cry. And, like it was such a beautiful moment. So I'm so glad, I knew that you'd be the perfect coach to really just kind of mention that story with. But awesome, you guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get into so many more strategies, right? We're going to really define what joy is. We're going to talk about how someone can find the joy even in the challenges, because you guys, life isn't all peaches and cream. It really isn't. But you have to stay constant, right? You have to show up consistently for yourself. And then of course, we're definitely talking about different shifts on healing, on how you can heal from maybe some of those past things. So you guys will be right back. Stay tuned. Hey ladies, what's up, you guys? We are back, and we are talking to the America's Joy Magnet. Literally, she is all over. Mainstream media is claimed her America's Joy Magnet. And I hope you do get a chance to go back and watch this video, because she is nothing but joy. So with that, Shari, before we move on, I know we've talked about, some of your past, how you really got to where you are today. But tell our listeners a little bit about what you do specifically, like what you do, how you help, and where people can find you.
Sure. So I am a professional speaker. So really I go into, I do both wellness areas, events, and then also corporate speaking, and really just about connecting, especially these days, organizations back to culture, happiness, and joy, understanding what that looks like, joyful leadership, as well as writing books. I'm a writer and I'm a content creator. You can see me online everywhere, just, really just spreading the joy. That is my mission, is really to make and help people reconnect back to their joy. And I've coached for years. I've kind of transitioned away from that, but, helping someone is always my love. So, but ultimately, I'm working on my talk show right now and getting that out there. So
love that. So obviously, number one, as a speaker, if you need help or need some quick advice, you can always find her on all the social channels probably. But I think you have an ebook, right? You want to give a gift to anyone listening today? Tell me about that ebook.
Yeah, it's called 10 Ways to Cultivate Joy. And so it's just 10 simple ways that you can help ignite the joy within you. So you just sign up for my weekly joy notes, which are really just filled with joy, positive upliftment, and you will get that ebook for free.
Awesome. 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 Well, you guys can find that link down below in the show notes. Sign it up. Like, who doesn't need more joy in their life? Who doesn't need to cultivate it? And if it isn't for you, download it for somebody else and mail it to them. I just thought like that would be such a beautiful gift. Like, let me just randomly put these, like, you know, we've heard of like, what is it where you just like random acts of kindness? Like, here's a little, you know, PDF on how to, you know, cultivate joy. I think that that'd be really cool. I think that that would be awesome.
It's been a challenging couple of years, and just, you know, like, we need that lightness, we need that upliftment, we need those reminders. So I figured what better way to do that than just put it into a nice little list and just to have that at your pocket anytime.
I love it. Can you maybe share just one of those secrets with them?
Yeah, well, I'll give you the obvious one, but it's obvious, but so many people don't do it, is to do more of what makes you happy. We show up for everybody else. We show up as the person, the wife, the daughter, the this, the that, the coworker. Well, what are the things that light you up? And do more of that. For me, every single day, what that looks like is going for a hike, connecting with nature. It is a non-negotiable in my life. Not only does it feel good physically, of course, but emotionally and spiritually, it sets me up for the day. That is something that ignites my joy each day.
I love that. You guys, you need to create your own self-love list so that, you know, you can literally just like pull out the card every day and say, this is what I'm going to do today. Like, that's so cool. And I love that you're consistent with it, obviously, as a queen of habit change, like anything that you want to try implementing. So if this is new for you, like putting yourself on the calendar, putting joy as one of your appointments, that's non-negotiable. Just, you know, my tip then would be to keep it at the same time, at the same, you know, day. Like if it's a Monday through Friday thing, if it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if it's a weekend only, it doesn't matter. Just consistency is going to be key with probably feeling so much joy. I literally made a post about a month ago on my Facebook page about gratitude, because when we really feel into gratitude, like it shields us from all the negative stuff. Like positive joyfulness, laughter, all of these things for me cure my depression. Like I don't need my medication anymore. I don't need to, you know, feel stressed out all the time. Like I literally, you know, I just feel so grateful and not alone as, you know, as a habit, and it's a practice that I do. But anyways, all right. So joy, I know this seems like an obvious question, but we're going to talk about what joy is. So tell me the definition of joy.
So I kind of alluded to it in the beginning, and this is my personal definition. I have learned this not only from my own experience, but for speaking for years with clients, working with clients. And every time I teach people how to do this, I hear more and more about how much joy they feel. And that is simply the full alignment and expression of your truth. So joy is literally being who you are. It's part of who we are. It's different than happiness. Happiness is external. Happiness is that thing that we seek. There's always something else there. I'll be happy when, and then we get that and we're like happy for a little while, and then there's something else we need.
Yeah.
Joy is literally about leaning in towards ourselves and finding that. I always like, you know, we always hear about kids, right? Kids are so joyful. And I like to share, well, when you think about kids, what is the difference from them and then us as adults? And it really comes down to the fact that they're not worried yet what anybody else thinks. Nobody has filtered their experience from them. They are showing up in their most creative, most expressive selves, wearing whatever they want, making up, you know, being a pirate on a playground, like it doesn't matter. And that is where joy comes from. And so how can we connect back to that part of ourselves that feels the most authentic to who we are?
Yeah.
Then you know joy.
Isn't that the truth? Like I don't want any more kids. Like I'm done with that. But I do enjoy watching happy kids play because they use their imagination. You're 100% right. Like they have not been filtered down. They don't know, some even younger kids, right? They don't know what pain really is. They don't know what hurt really is. They just show up and they're like, and they could probably play pirate and, you know, astronaut for hours. Yet adults were like, I can't even spend 5 minutes in my mind imagining my best life ever. Like they're just, we get so caught up in the hustle and the bustle. And I call it, you'll love this. I call it my spiritual power hour. And every morning from 8 to 9, you know, I'm doing things, everything that brings me abundance and joy. And I really, truly, no matter what type of day I'm having, because I wake up having bad days just like everyone else. I go to the gym. I'm not quite feeling it some days. I get home though, and I just sit with myself. I sit with how I want to be feeling. I allow myself to imagine the life I want to have. I imagine the bank account, the number, like everything, right? The transformations, like I imagine it all. Because one day my coach a long time ago said, Carissa, abundance is a feeling and you can tap into it at any point in time. And I'm like, what? I got the power to tap into this like feeling all the time. And she's like, duh. So the hardest part again goes to, you got to do it every day, or you got to do it when you need it. So,
and it's exactly what you said about gratitude though too. Like, so I end my days, start and end my day, but for me, gratitude, I call it joy spotting. So it's really about looking for the good in the day. And so it always shows up. Like my fiance is completely different than me, like totally opposite. And so we'll walk down the street and he'll talk about like, oh, this play, like they don't even clean the streets around here. There's all this garbage. And I'm like, look at the trees, babe, and the sky. And it's like, it's the same world, but we just see it completely differently. And I have retrained my brain to see and seek and find the good always first. And so it's part of my spiritual power hour, beginning of the day and end of the day, same thing.
I love that. I love that. I definitely like, and I get where, like my husband, he's just, trained to like see reality for what it is. And I'm like, yeah, but stop and like, look at that pretty flower right there. I'm the same way. But you mentioned, right? So if someone's listening, you're like, yeah, but like, how do you get to that point? And you mentioned like you've been training yourself, like every day you have to show up and you have to be looking. Our brains are wired to find the negative, right? Like they're wired to like back up our operating system that says, hey, things are not going to go great today. Like if that's what you wake up thinking, then that's what you're going to go out and find. So it's like cool to start your day with an intention, but my like gratitude, my real gratitude practice comes at the end of my work day. So I used to be a workaholic. And so at 4 o'clock now, I stop and what you call joy, what was it? Joy spotting. Joy spotting. I call my hell yes wins. And like on my whiteboard, it says hell yes, and anything that makes me smile, laugh, or feel really good throughout the day, I literally just look to my whiteboard, write it down. And then like I have a lot like laundry list of things.
Awesome.
Because when I feel bad, right? When I have the moments of I'm not enough, or I don't think I'm capable, I'm not smart enough. Like all these limiting beliefs in my head pop up, that little itty bitty shitty committee, it pops up. And I'm like, I look at the board and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I have done so much awesome stuff. Yes. I have nothing to complain about. Yep. And that's part of my practice, right? Like write it down so that I can acknowledge that it's there. And then I go and share it. So every day at the dinner table, me and my family, it's like really the one time we all get together. And I've been doing this for like 5 years. We talk about our hell yes wins, and my daughter does get to say, hell yes, did this happen today?
It's her favorite part of the day.
Yeah.
Just to say
and
that.
She's literally, Shari, she will literally be like, Mom, what happened? Like, she's like almost bouncing, right? She's like, what happened in your life today? Like, what was a hell yes? And I tell her. And then my husband goes, and then she's like, okay, now it's my turn. Like, she can't wait to share about it. And it's awesome. And we just know, because she talks more than I do. We just let her go, and we let her go. And like, we're doing dishes and she's still talking about all of her awesome wins.
Sounds like me as a kid.
It truly is a practice. It is. So really quick, how to find joy in challenges. What would you like? What do you want to talk about with that? And what's some tips to help women find joy through their challenges?
Yeah. So for me, what really helped is some of the things that we've already touched on. Gratitude, number one, because listen, I'm just going to say it. Can I say shit? Well, I'm going to say it. Shitty things happen.
Yeah.
Like to all of us every single day. Things don't go the way that we hope that they would. There's disappointments, right? Like it's life. And so it really is about finding those moments that are going well. It's finding, even if it's something as simple as your breath. Like for me, when I'm really stuck, so my back gave out this morning and I had a big interview, 2 big interviews here today. And I was like, my mind immediately wanted to say, of course this happens. Why? Because it's on a big day. And I literally stopped and I put my hands on my heart and I said, I love you. We got this. And this too shall pass. And for me, then that lifted me, because I was like, of course, look at all the other badass moments in your life that you have gotten through. And so it's being able to find those in the challenges. It is also a big one is having faith and trusting, because every single challenge I've ever had in my life, like at the time, we struggle with stuff because we're fighting against what is.
Right.
And then we wait till hindsight and we're like, oh, now I understand why that happened. And so it is choosing to not wait for hindsight to say, you know what? I don't know why you showed up at my door. I don't know why this challenge here, but I trust it. And I know that I'm going to come out better, stronger, braver, bolder because of it. So let's go.
Beautiful. You guys, I don't even want to add anything else to that. That was like mic drop moment. Literally, you guys need to let go of the how and the stress when something happens. Just say, I trust that it happened. This is happening for me at the right, perfect time. I will learn a lesson from this. I will never do, there's so many lessons in everything. And that's how I always reframe it. I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know what you're trying to teach me today. I know you're going to show me, but I trust you and I'm going to let it go because I'm trying to control an outcome. I'm trying to.
And I just want to say really quickly, I know we have to go, but like when I mentioned kids, we are built from joy. And it's who we are. And I'll keep saying that. And it's all the stuff that we allow into our system, into our minds that makes us forget that. So when we learn how to clear that out, when we show up positively for ourselves, when we believe in ourselves, when we have the abundant mindset, the gratitude, all of that, our joy naturally rises because it is who we are. And you can't change at the core who we are.
I know. Ooh. All right. She just filled my cup up. Just drank her Kool-Aid.
A cup of joy, girl.
Shari, thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest on the show. I would love to have you come back and kind of pick up part 2 at some point. So thank you. And if you guys are in a place, right, where you're needing to, find some joy, follow her, get her book. She has an amazing book out there. Go stalk her. I know I did the first time I met her and I was like, dang, this chick's a total badass. I need her on my show. So thank you. And you guys, if you are looking to boss up and show up and get healthy and fit, I am a certified badass helping women get fit and confident so that they can become, beautiful powerhouse leaders. I help women create those healthy habits so that they can boss up in their life. I actually am hosting a free challenge. It's called the 31-day, 31-rep challenge. It's simple exercises every single day, but you've got to join the Healthy Hustle Facebook group to get in. So this is just one of many challenges that I have going on that are going to help you, show up for yourself. So with that, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Stay bossing up.
Thank you for listening to Boss Up Babes with Carissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Carissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.